Mm. Hi, welcome to Two Girls with a Mic. I'm Lena.
And I'm Crystal. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. So it is the month of March, and I'm excited because a lot of great things happen in the month of March.
Well, yeah. This March, well, it's not this March, it's every March, but there's an International Women's Month. It's the whole month
Right.
of March. And
Mm-hmm.
we can just have a month of talking about women now and in our in our past history. And actually, International Women's Day is celebrated on Monday, March the 8th.
And
So we
normally
have
you wear red on that day also.
you know what? I don't usually have on, I'm usually working in pajamas because I work from home. So maybe I might decide to go ahead and put something on for that day and wear some red. So thanks for sharing about that because I didn't even see that part.
Yeah, you normally wear red on that day. But yeah, so it is international. But then my birthday is in March. So yes, I
Oh,
celebrate the whole
yay!
month.
And there's nothing wrong with celebrating the whole month. I tell you that.
Especially
Sometimes
when your birthday is at the end of the month. So I celebrate the whole month of
ain't
March.
nothing. And see, that's funny because mine's like the second day of the month, and sometimes I still be celebrating the following month because I be kind of messed up. But yes, definitely. Alrighty, so since we were talking about International Month, let me just say that every year the International Women's Month has a theme. And
Mm-hmm.
this year their theme is to choose to challenge. And it
Right.
says because a challenge world is an alert world. So having a theme this year, me and Lena talked about it and we asked all of our guests that were going to be on the show and what did they choose to challenge. And they actually gave us like some really great things that they want to do. So like our blogger this month is Read and Lift with Shar, and her choose the challenge was to be more transparent,
Mm-hmm.
just opening up more and sharing more of herself. And I told her I feel like she's already doing it because her page shares her journey with everything that she is going through as far as her cancer, her exercise, and then her books. So definitely check out Read and Lift with Shar. She is so sweet.
Phenomenal. She
She is,
is.
yeah, she is
She's a
definitely what
sweetheart.
you call a phenomenal woman. So we definitely check out Read and Lift with Shar. And our author of the month is author Danielle
Danielle
Allen.
Allen.
Yes. Oh my
I
gosh,
love
like
her.
she is the bomb, you guys. Like really the bomb. Like I can't say all I can say is just go follow author Danielle Allen. Go read anything that she puts out because I don't care what she writes, you're gonna feel it.
It's good. Yeah.
Definitely gonna feel it. And her choose the challenge, she said, was to pour more into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because you know you always definitely want to be a better you.
Right.
And if you can't be a better, healthy person, how are you going to be able to pour into anyone else? So I love that she said pour into yourself. And our business owner of the month was Quintaria Brunson of the Brunson Approach. She's a realtor. She does business coaching. And all she wants to do is build a legacy. And her choose to challenge is to stand behind and dismantle what we're dealing with as a race.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. So, you know, Lena, I don't know, have you had a chance to thought? Because I seem like I always be putting you on the spot when I ask you questions.
You
but
do.
but have you chose a challenge that you want to choose the challenge, and what have you
Mm.
thought about?
I haven't chose my choose to challenge yet. I think if anything, it is to follow your dreams. I think to choose a challenge to set a goal and to see it through this year, you know. So if anything, I would say that would be it. Set a goal and make it come forth. See its fruit, bear its fruit. So yeah.
I love that one. That is an excellent choose the challenge. And You're right. I didn't think of one either. And I'm just like, what it is. But I'm going to sit here and say, to finish a project that I start. I have started many projects, and some of the projects have started. They're in the process of going on. And I do want to make changes on like things that I'm doing with my love of books, myself and personal. And like I said, starting and finishing a project. So my goal for 2021, I'm going to choose the challenge and finish a project that I am working on. And maybe I can finish 2 of them. So let's see.
You can.
Yeah, definitely can.
Okay.
So,
so I know so Black romance. There's been a lot going on with Black romance lately, and it's you would think that it's just as simple as anything else. White romance, our interracial romance, Asian romance, Black romance. And I feel like that category is not difficult. It's 2 Black people, man, woman, Black man, Black woman, Black man, Black man, Black woman, Black woman. So, the common denominator is that they're both Black.
Black. BLACK. Blackity black, black, black all day, every day.
Right. So I don't understand why it's so difficult for some people to understand that concept, and why, everyone wants to jump on our bandwagon when it's becoming popular and getting more recognition. But, they can't have it. They can't have everything that we have. And that's one thing, with both of us, is that we definitely want to fight for Black romance and to make sure it stays known as Black romance.
Right, Black romance. And I understand like the confusion with people, because they feel like if it's just one Black person, that it still should be considered Black romance, but it's not.
Right.
Like Black romance, we're not saying biracial romance. We're not saying, like you said, white romance. And we're not saying white Black romance. We're just saying Black romance. I meant, like, is it becoming a big deal when we have a white author writing with an interracial couple? Are they putting themselves in Black romance? I don't think so.
No.
Now it's going to make me want to look and see, but I don't think so.
No, but they're not. They're known as interracial romance. They tab their things. And even Black authors who write, interracial romance that I've read has tagged themselves as IR, interracial romance. So no, I mean, but I just don't understand, like, if you want to say that because it has a Black person in there as Black romance, then it can be considered white romance as well, because it has a white person in there if it's a Black and a white person. So no, it's not. And they have those categories so that people can understand what they're reading. If you're saying it's Black romance, it's misleading me as someone who reads Black romance when I pick up the book, and then I'm reading like, well, she don't sound Black. She don't, her characterization is not Black, or his, or whoever. It just helps us understand what has been out there, or what is being put out there for.
That is true. And we just recently heard a little event that went on, and what bothered me, I usually don't get into stuff like this because I'm not gonna say I'm petty. I just, if somebody says something to me that I don't like, I'm gonna go harder, and I'm gonna say I hurt your feelings, and I really don't care, like, at all, because I meant to do that. It's not like I didn't mean to do it and I did it. No, if I did, I meant to do it. But to sit here and say that Black romance isn't important, why do they feel like that? And then to come from people who don't even read it. My thing is, and I'm saying this, if you don't read something, don't speak on it. Like, that's just, I don't read fantasy, I would never speak on fantasy. I don't read paranormal. I would never speak on paranormal. I'm going to speak on what I read. And I read Black romance. I read urban fiction. I read mystery and suspense. So I'm going to speak on that. But I just don't understand as well is why are we making such a big deal out of Black romance? I mean, I feel like you said earlier, it's because we're winning right now. You know, we're the hashtag Black, hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Black romance. Black romance is here to stay because that's how a lot of our Black people were born, from a Black man, a Black woman. And yes, there were some interracial, but like you said, they have their own genre.
Right.
Why can't Black romance have theirs?
Right. And
that's all.
And my thing is, you know, if don't get offended if someone corrects you. If, you know, my thing is knowledge is power. And if you didn't know it's one thing, but once I tell you and I inform you, say, hey, this is not Black romance because it's not two Black people in it, then don't get upset about it. Don't get your feelings hurt about it. It's just, it is what it is. And, you know, and learn from it and move on. So that's my take on it, is that, you know, though is guidelines, just like Amazon has its guidelines, what you put your book under, or Barnes and Noble, or whoever you have your books under, they have guidelines. And so when you're looking for those books, you're searching sometimes maybe for fantasy, romance, or whatever. But, you know, Black romance is Black romance, and I love Black romance, and I will ride hard for Black romance. And I don't want anyone to make it seem like it is just a fly by night type of deal, because it's not.
It really isn't. And this is the reason why I started my page, the reason why you started your page, and the reason why we decided that we wanted to start this podcast. We want to recognize our Black bloggers, our small Black business owners, even just our Black business owners, because, you know, small is more, you know, small kind of ranges up pretty high when it comes to business. So we can say small Black business owners, or we can just say Black business owners, man or woman. And we want to definitely recognize our Black authors, because now I feel they're becoming so recognized and people are knowing about them. Like, people know who Love Belvin is, people know who Christina C. Jones is, people know who Alexandria House is, because everyone is reading them more. They know who Nicole Falls is. But I feel like now that we're starting to win, somebody wants to try to knock it down. And I'm not going to say somebody, I'm going to say people in general, like just people in general. And, you know, I've talked to different people and they feel like it's too cliquish. It's cliquish because people are making it cliquish. Like, I don't understand how you feel something becomes cliquish when it's not even a person, it's a substance.
Right.
It's a word.
And my thing is that, you know, Bookstagram has been around a long time. So it is not like it's just something that just happened overnight. It has been around a long time. The thing is now is that Black romance has its Bookstagram grammars, where you have accounts who focus on Black romance books. And I think that's where people feel like, you know, why would you want to do that? Well, why would you want to only focus on YA books or fantasy books, or, you know, whatever
you focus on?
So why would you, if that's the case, then it's going to be cliquish for everyone, because everyone has their own category that they like to focus on. So, you know, my thing, hey, get over it. is here, is going to stay. We're going to fight for it. We're going to make sure you understand what it is, and we're not going to allow you to try to keep taking over everything that is not for you. So
that is true. And I mean, if you don't like what we said, who cares? That's how I'm feeling. I don't care, because this is why we started this platform, so we can speak on what we want to speak on. And we are here to say Black romance is important. It is going to stay around. It's going to get bigger. And as long as it has Black book bloggers writing for them, we're going to make sure that they stay important.
Right.
As they say, period. Period. Yes,
All right, but to
definitely.
change the topic, in a
Yeah,
sense, to move on from discussing about Black romance, we're going to talk about some books about Black romance.
of course.
Now, one thing that you and I both did, we read a series for Valentine's Day that came out, and it had three of our, some of our favorite authors: Danielle Allen, Bailey West, and Tay Russ.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that series because I
Oh
love
my
Aubrey
gosh. Yes,
Penn.
definitely.
So yeah, and we
And
also we also read one by Aubrey Penn, After Times. So that was, let's talk about that one first. That was a good
girl,
one. And
can let me
it was
just
short, sweet, to the point. It didn't, you know, but it was a good one. I really enjoyed that one by Aubrey
let,
Penn.
let me just tell you. Like I said, I already love Aubrey Penn. I don't
Right.
care what Aubrey Penn puts out, even under Cassandra B. I'm reading it. Like I feel like I need to catch up with, and she'd be like, "Yeah, you do." But when I say shallow, Jesus Christ, like
Yeah.
if let me go in a grocery store and meet a man that tells me you don't look too good, you don't look happy, come with me and I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna say yes, like quick. And I loved how he knew what he wanted. Like he
Mhm.
didn't back down, he just was like straightforward, playing no games. It's like, let's do this, girl. So, and I like the fact that she was like, you know what, I can do this. I definitely can do this.
Right. Right. Pause. All right. So yeah, I love Shiloh in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how he took charge, and made her, like, she didn't even know how to even combat, like, what?
I
Everything was like,
know. She
okay.
was stuck.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna just
she
go, I'm
definitely
gonna
was
just
stuck.
go with it. But yeah, I mean, is it Dana and
Dania,
Shiloh?
yeah, I like because it was, yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Like Dania, like you said,
Yeah.
Dania. Yeah. I like, yeah, they were, like you said, it was short, sweet, and to the point. Like, bam,
Yeah,
here we
it was
go.
good and steamy.
Yes. And then when he went and got her at the end, loved it.
Right, I love that
Like,
too.
definitely loved it. So yes, that was a great read. And I'm like, yay. So let's talk about the books from Raw. And
Hmm.
again, they called themselves the Raw series because Tay Russ, Danielle Allen, and Bailey West.
Right.
So I read An Unexpected Valentine first by Russ. And I think that's probably why I went in that order, because I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and spell Raw. So I read An Unexpected Valentine first. And that was a book of Nolan and Jesus,
Yes,
what? I'm sorry, say that again.
Yasmin.
Jasmine, yes. I'm like, why? See, that's like women. I don't be remembering all their names sometimes, and it drives me crazy. But they were basically chefs together at a restaurant, and Yas did not like Nolan at all. Her
No.
reasoning for not liking him, I feel like, didn't have anything to do with her, but that's just her loyalty to her sister. Was it this? Was she her sister? No, her cousin.
It was a
It wasn't.
sister.
Okay, so yeah, the loyalty to her sister, because Nolan's friend kind
Brother.
of, see, I thought he was a noble.
No.
Okay, so it was the brother.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so yeah, he basically cheated on her and she didn't like it, so she stopped. She just didn't like Nolan. But one thing I loved about Nolan, he didn't care that she didn't like him. He still just put himself in her
Hmm.
space.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna eventually like me by the time I finish being up in your
Yeah.
face, girl. So I did love that about him.
Yeah, and one thing I like about Tay is that her character development, no matter how long or short the books are, they be on point. You really get to know the characters. Like you felt Yasmin, you understood why she had an issue with Nolan, from the job to her sister. Like you
Right.
understand all those aspects about her, and you still got a sense of the type of person that she was. And the same with Nolan.
With the same with Nolan.
You
Yes.
you got all of that. And so I really enjoy how Tay is able to really get that viewpoint of that characters, those character developments in. And this book is good. The connection with them two is good. I mean,
Yes.
I was connected with the book in an instant. It didn't take me long to get in, and I definitely would like for Tay to give me more of them too, because
Definitely. I felt the same way. I was like, I want to know more about Nolan and Yasmin once they got together. And I laughed so hard when Nolan and his boys was hanging out, and they was like, we want to meet the person who slayed the dragon. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, because she shut her down real quick. Like, girl, yeah, what you're not gonna do is come up in here and act like a fool. So let me shut you down real quick. And it is such a nice way. That's the thing I liked about it. But yeah, I love their little story. And what I liked what each author did with the series, like they went and gave them that alone time to like get to know each other and like to really say, okay, this is what I want and blah, blah, blah. Like, because I was like, how is she going to put Nolan and Yaz together in such a short time when Yaz felt about him the way she felt about him? But when, Nolan said, tell me why you don't like me, I was like, okay, damn. So like I said, I was thinking it was something, like you said, I just thought it was just the job and she was being passed over. But then when she said everything else, I was like, oh, you one of those. Okay. But a great wrap up. Okay, so which book you want to talk about next? Because like I said, I don't know what order you read them in.
Well, I read Bailey West first. And so A Valentine Quest. So that was the one I read first. And, in the beginning of that one, she kind of introduced, it was Shea and Cole. But they also, it was brought together with them all having brunch or lunch with each other. And so you got a sense that's how they all were in a group. And so, Shea, she was upset because she thought Cole was standing her up for Valentine's Day. And he wasn't. He was sending her on a quest of things that he had paid attention to or listened to her say, and her not even realizing that, he was listening or paying attention. So I like that. I like that Bailey was able to bring them, make a day that was like their day, because a lot of things happen on that day, and then make it even more special of a day because of the things that he did to get her where he wanted her.
Yes, and I loved what he did, like sending her on the different adventures. And like you said, all it is he basically showed her that I do listen to you. You might not think I'm listening. You might not think I'm here, because he did work out of the state. So like he was always traveling for work. And I love the fact that they always made time to talk to each other. Yes, her feelings was hurt, but he more than made up for it. Like he definitely did. The ending was just, I was like, I loved it. I love Lachey and Cole. Yes, I mean, and like I want to hear more about them too. Like, what's coming next? Like,
I need a story of them and them what's gonna happen after quest.
yes, because it was definitely a great.
I love Bailey's work also. I mean, this trio is a really great trio because I love all of
every
them.
last one of them.
All of their
yes.
work. So
every last one of them. And we cannot forget about Miss Danielle Allen. Oh my gosh. Like my anti-Valentine, when I say I loved it, like loved it. Because Emmanuel and Alyssa. Alyssa was not a fan of Valentine's Day and she just didn't want to deal with it. But because her and Emmanuel were best friends, he needed a date for a family member's wedding because of his crazy ex. And she was like, I'll do it. And then he came up with the idea of let's act like we're a couple. But he did tell her, you're not good at lying. Definitely not good. And
I think she realized that, but I think she realized a lot of things that day, about herself, and it all
Her
happened
feelings.
for the best. I mean, the transition from friends to lovers was is good. And and I love how Danielle made it natural. It wasn't something that was forced. It happened. It was something that was already there, but when they were put in a situation to actually be that, even though it was pretend, it was natural. And I think everyone saw that. So
Except for Alyssa. Alyssa was the only one who didn't see it. Emmanuel knew. He knew he wanted her. It just
well, Alyssa started knowing too that she wanted Emmanuel. So,
right, but she didn't know he wanted her as well.
yeah, she was kind of, but I think she had a feeling. She just wasn't like, she needed to hear him say that,
Right.
I want you. I think she had like an inclination of that, I think he's into me type of deal. But
Yeah,
yeah.
because when she was sitting there thinking, like, why does he look so good in that tuxedo? I never looked at him this way. Why is he
Mhm.
this? Why is he that? And like you said, it's like, bam, I figured it out. I
Yeah.
got this. So
Mhm.
definitely another good read. So, like I said, that whole entire series was great.
Yeah. I
I would
mean,
love
and
to see more.
yeah, you were able to connect with all the characters in that
Yes,
in that in Raw. So, it was
definitely. And
all three of them are great writers, and
they
I
really
definitely would
are. They're those
team of them.
emotional writers, like those
Hmm.
writers that make you fall in love with them, their characters. Like I said, when I read Bailey West Loving Man, I wanted to be friends with everybody in Loving Man. Anti
Hmm.
Valentine, like, yeah, my top read is from Danielle Allen this month, for the month of February. So definitely, I understand. Tay Russ, she's been getting all my attention for like the past 2 months and her books. So I definitely enjoyed this entire series from the
Yeah,
ladies.
I love all three of them. I really do. So I definitely, whenever I see they're dropping anything, I'd always grab it. They're like my one clicks right away.
Yeah, they're starting to be my one clicks, definitely. Like, and I'm like getting through Danielle Allen's catalog, and as well as Bailey West. Tay Russ, I have read some books from her, but I don't want to stop. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna try to figure out how I'm gonna get all them books read, because Tay Russ has a lot of books, and so
She
does Danielle.
does. And her McAllister series, I haven't even cracked it.
Oh,
I've started it, but I haven't even finished it. But the one that I love is her Noble series by her.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
one. Like after hearing about the brother and Unexpected Valentine, I was like, oh, let me go ahead and get into this. And so
Hmm.
I definitely want to read that series. That might be something that might be my night read, because I mean, depending on how long they are, it might be stuff I can do during the daytime while I'm working.
Hmm.
But yes, kudos, lady. You did an excellent job with that series. And we want more. We already told Danielle Allen we want more, but we're
Definitely.
going to say it again. We want more from you, ladies. Definitely.
Yeah. So what was so outside of those, the top five that you have, your number five for this
Okay,
month?
so let me just let you guys know, I was kind of disappointed in myself because last month I read 27 books. This month I only read 17. So I kind of shortchanged myself this month, but I read some great reads for this month. So I'm gonna go from 5 to 1 because I feel like number one is just but my top five. So my fifth read out of my top five is it's called Tales from the Dale by Elijah Freeman. He's a new author to me. And the funny thing about it, when I opened up the book and started reading, and when his very first sentence, I had to DM him, and I'm like, "You're from Georgia?" And come to find out, he's writing a book about the area that I live in. So I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, okay. But what I liked what he did with this story, it's like three little short stories within
Mhm.
that one book. And so the first one is about Rico. And Rico was kind of like a money hungry person. Like he would do anything to make money. So he met this guy who gave him what is called like a little money thing where, as long as he have it, nobody else touches, nothing happens to him, he'll make money. But so, his luck started changing, but then he did something happened to the little piece of money bag, and it just all went to hell. The second book, actually, I thought it was going to be my favorite until I read the third one. So the second little story was about a 16-year-old boy named J Rock, who mother put him out because he just couldn't abide by her rules. And the night that the author wrote about, basically it kind of left J Rock for dead. Like he could have died from doing the things that he was doing. But as he was going through what he was going through, he was thinking why him and his mother relationship changed so much. But at the end, when he needed his mother, she was there. And then the third little story was about this guy named Rail, who was he was actually in the holding cell to be sentenced. And they brought in another guy that was younger than him. So he told his story about how he ended up where he did. And then it told us like how long he was sentenced into prison. But the thing about that story, and it ended up becoming my favorite one, is even though Rail was locked up, at the end, he turned his life around. So that was my number 5. Lena, you want to discuss your number 5?
Sure. Mine was Noelle's Stay Another Day. And it was by a new author for me. I'm not sure if she's new, but her name is Tisha Andrews. And it was a short read.
Okay.
It was a quick read. It was really good. It was about a girl named Noelle and a guy named Knight. And Knight had some issues as far as relationship wise because of his mom. So I guess mommy issues growing up. And Noelle came from a family that was tight, that started their own business and things like that. And it was centered around her and her best friend, which was a guy who had promised that he would be in a relationship with her. And so she had to realize that it wasn't gonna happen. And so I like the fact that how Tisha brought in how it started off with that, like it laid that foundation of this is what's going to happen, but she ended up getting her backbone and having to stand up. And of course they always try to come back, but I love how she made Noelle figure out what she wanted, and had Knight ended up changing his attitude towards females because of his mom and just things in his past. So she did a really great job with this book. It's not long, it's short, but it gets straight to the point. So
that's so I'm gonna have to definitely check that out, because I did see that book and I was like, oh, me, I love reading new authors. So I was like, I have to put a balance in between these new authors and the ones and the older authors. Okay, right. So my number 4 was the second book in the series. It was called Yesterday by L.A. Sky. So basically, I kind of waited like almost a year before the second book came out, and I cannot stand waiting for books. It drives me crazy. So she came out with book 2 and 3. So I was able to read them both at the same time, which was good. So like I said, out of the last 2, Yesterday was my favorite, and it picked up Yesterday picked up from book 1, which was Today. So it was called the Today series. And basically Yesterday picked up where David brother came into the picture, but David did not like his brother at all, and he did not want to have anything to do with him. So that bothered Olivia a lot. But also the book picked up where Olivia did not remember who she was, who her husband was, anything. She just realized that she was married, she was pregnant, and to a man that she did not know. And that was stemmed from an accident that she had at the end of book 1. But this story, so basically the Today series was about he was he owned his own security firm, and him and Olivia, which is his wife, they met like years ago, and then they lost touch. He started messing with someone else. She was getting ready to get married to someone, but come to find out the guy she was supposed to get married to was he was a crappy dude. And so David and Olivia got back together. They end up getting married. And literally, they wasn't like this story. They met, and literally months later, they got married. They knew they wanted to be with each other. They knew they loved each other. But this author, she writes in kind of like suspense and mystery. And when I say the suspense factor in this book was through the roof, it was through the roof. It was through the roof for the whole series, but this book had more. It was just so much drama going on. And then we got to see I love the fact that her parents were in the book a lot. They had a great group of friends that they hung around with. Her sister was in the book, and just we got to see more of her sister life. But the drama in that book was, like I said, through the roof, and people were dying, and it was a great book. Like literally a great book. So yeah, that was my number 4 for the month of February.
Okay,
February.
that's good. It sounds good. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to check that one out.
It's long. It's a
Um,
long book, but it is good. Yes.
well, my fourth one is my number 4 for this month is The Boyfriend Type by the Haley Family by Shea Sanders. So it's book
Oh.
1. So it's a three book series in it.
Mm.
It's not long. This one was not long at all. It's about a girl named Yasmin and her brother's best friend Lorenzo. And
Ooh.
so, I love those type of drama filled books because they both were concerned about how her brother would feel, that they had to keep, everything on the down low. But it's about Yasmin moving back to her hometown, and she had to like basically beg to come back by herself because of some things that happened to her in her past. And so she learned how to overcome those things and how to handle stressful situations. So it was a good book. Lorenzo, of course, Shay made him like fine as all get out. And so
Girl, I'm
I
looking up the book now as you're speaking about it. Looking it up now.
I was excited, and I love that he was a restaurateur. He owns his own restaurants, and was a businessman, and he had a past. And I love the fact that he acknowledged his past, but he also was trying to make himself better. So, and it wasn't even the fact of Yasmin coming in, but it was that he wanted to be better for himself before she was even in the picture. So he was trying to make changes to, for that. And then when she came, it only strengthened his resolve to keep pushing through. But I love this book. I'm gonna have to definitely read more about Shea Sanders.
Man, she is the truth. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, where did she come from? Her writing, because I read Trick or Treat by her. Woo! And those books were hot. But
Yeah, I
yeah, I'm
read
definitely
those. You
going.
told me to read those. So I read
Yes.
those, and those were some good books. And this is it. It has on there that this is a steamy first in series romance. So, but I love the fact there's no cliffhangers. So that was definitely a
That's
plus.
good. Yeah, because
Yeah.
sometimes those drive me crazy. But she does have another book. So I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Because like I said, Shea Sanders is just like, bam,
Yeah,
bam, bam. I'm
she
here.
was pretty good. This one was good. So I'm definitely gonna read the next one in the series.
Yeah, definitely. I need to check out more from her anyway. All right. So now we're on book 3. Now, let me tell you, I found my book 3 by reading another book by this author. So book 3 for me is Love Me Gently by Sky Moon. Okay, so the reason how I found that book, when I read her book Skin, at the end of Skin, she had like this little, it was like a little book. And I'm like, ooh, Chase and Malachi kind of hot together, especially Malachi. So I was like, where did this come from? And as I'm answering myself this question, bam, the book shows up. So I went and read it, and it was called Love Me Gently. Now, Love Me Gently was about 2 couples, Chase and Malachi, and Akimi and Rico. So Rico and Chase were brothers, and Rico and Kai were brothers, and Chase and Akimi were cousins. They were first cousins. And so Chase, basically the book started out, Chase long-term boyfriend dumped her on their anniversary. And she was devastated. So she was like, for about a good week and a half, she kind of just shut down. She didn't want to be bothered. She stayed in. And her mother was like, I don't care what you're doing, what you're going through. You better be at Sunday dinner. So going to Sunday dinner, she saw her cousin Akimi, who she hadn't talked to in a while. And Akimi was like, come to my job tonight. Let's go hang out. So Akimi worked with Chase and I'm sorry, I keep on mixing the names up, with Kai and Rico at a nightclub that they owned. So Akimi and Rico loved each other. Like, they wanted to be with each other, but Akimi was scared because of what she was dealing with in her past. and Rico was known as a ladies' man, and she didn't want to deal with it. So Sky just kind of took us on an adventure of Chase and Malachi getting to know each other, which was hot as hell to me. Like literally, he just was one of those guys. He kind of reminded me of a guy that just kind of like a shallow, like, yeah, chick, I want you, and this is what I'm gonna do to get you. And he knew that he wanted her. He's never had feelings like that towards a girl that would make him want to be in a relationship. And Chase made him want to be in a relationship. So they hooked up, Chase ran, and then that was it. Akemi and Rico were like a hot mess. Like she fighting him, he making advances. It was just like bam, bam, bam. It was just a lot. It was a very good read, like very good read. And the ending of it was like, oh, okay. So the second book she did come out. I did read that as well. But definitely.
What was the name of this one?
This one was called Love Me Gently by Sky
Moon.
Sky Moon, yes.
I like her. She's a good writer also.
Yeah, she really is. She's weaving those books, I tell you, definitely.
Yeah, the male characters are pretty good. But my next one was Be Mine by Millie Belazar. I know I'm not saying that right.
Or is it Belazar? It could be.
I love her work. I mean, she had the Collide series, Fast, and the Garden of Eden. Those are her 3 books. And when I say like all 3 of them are good. All 3 of them. But this one was and this was her it's like a Valentine's Day read, but it involved all 3 of them, and it was like they all each had their own little section of the book, and it wasn't a long read at all. It was pretty good, but it caught you up with
what they were doing.
Characters. So I love her work. I definitely would not want to. I definitely would read anything that she put out. Her character development is definitely on par, is top notch. She makes you feel her characters. Even in this mini book, you felt her characters. You got to know a little bit more about them. You got caught up with them, and you still just fall in love with them, all of them. So this one was talking about Caprice and Sean, which was from the Fast series. It was talking about Eden and Andrew, which was from the Garden of Eden. And I definitely cannot forget about Cain, Lauren and Cain, because they are in the Collide series, and that was the series that made me fall in love with her. And
it's sad.
Those books are good. I definitely love and will recommend her work, most definitely.
Yes, I need to read it. I'm playing around. It's on my table to be read. Like,
yeah,
I feel like I have to pull out books now and be like, put it in my face. So I can read it, because if they're on my shelf, I'm like, I can wait, because I can probably get it on, get it on Kindle Unlimited. And at least I got the book.
But I can't get enough of them, so I'm excited about them. But what was your second one?
So my second one is a new author. Her name is, and I'm gonna say, because the way it's spelled, I think it's Guatar. So it's Guatar Allen, and her book was called Cora's Diary. As I started out in my review, that book is not for the faint at heart, like at all. If you one of those little prunes when it comes to sex, don't read it. I mean, geesh. So it was about Cora. Cora, like, as I said, Cora was doomed from the beginning. She was raised by her mother. The father had walked off, so the mother had remarried someone else. And the guy, so this book deals with sexual childhood abuse. And it's like he basically, things were happening to her from the age of 9. The mother was aware of it. Sometimes mothers don't know, but the mother was aware of it. And she let this man do this to her daughter. So eventually, Cora grew up, and, her mother just always was telling her, get out. Like, just, he was always putting her out. But the husband was like, oh, you don't have to go anywhere. Like, he was giving her money and everything. It was just, that relationship to me was terrible. And it bothered me more because her mother knew about it. So as Cora got older, she decided at school, in high school, that she was going to take like an activity, an after school activity, so she won't have to go home, because she felt the less she was around him, the better for her. Mm-hmm. And she had a teacher that was like, oh, let me get you into this. And it brought her into the world of making jewelry. And her stuff was good. And she actually, they had a huge fashion show at school, and her jewelry pieces were in the fashion show being worn, and her career took off from there. So as she got older, like, she got a scholarship for school. She basically decided to keep on doing her jewelry. And as she did her jewelry, she met this guy named Daniel. And I'm so mad I can't remember his last name. But anyway, Daniel kind of took her under his wing, but he loved her like from when he first met her. So we get to see the story of Daniel and Cora just being together. But it wasn't just Daniel and Cora. They had thruples. Like, they were in relationships with either a woman. So it would be Daniel and Cora and another woman, or sometimes two women. Like, they had threesomes. Like, she's done things, and you're like, damn. So like I said, this book was not for the faint of heart, until one guy came in. Like, she met this guy, his name was Baptiste, and she just could not get him out of her mind. But Daniel knew something was off with him. Like, he knew. But to make Cora happy, he said, go ahead and bring him in. And that's where everything kind of like went downhill from there. And it was an excellent read. Like, when I say excellent read, it was an excellent read from the beginning to the end. And like, it was drama in it, but it was not like over dramatic. It just was the story of Cora's life. And like I said, I love that she called it Cora's Diary, because it was just basically talking about Cora. So this author, like I said, she was new. It did end with the cliffhanger that messed me up. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what's going to happen? So she's basically working on this now, the second book now, but this was definitely my number 2 read of the month. And Lena, what's yours?
That sounds good. I'm gonna have to check. You said Cora's Diary?
Cora's Diary is really, it was really good. Like I said, it ain't for the faint of heart, because I tell you, them sex scenes.
Who was it by?
It's Guitar. So it's spelled GQUATAR, and just regular Allen, ALLEN.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check her out. It sounds interesting. Well, my next one is this one. Now, it was hard to choose between these, my first one and second one, because this book was so good. I mean, and it was good. But it was BigDickEnergy.com by Genesis Woods.
And I have that book.
That book, I mean, I was like, she pulled me in from the very beginning. And like, I mean, she covered, it was based off some sisters, and basically Genesis had created a app that goes on your phone, a dating app, and each sister besides one went on the app, and every man that they found on there, I was like, oh my God, like, oh my God. And the things that they experienced because of it, I was just like, Lord help me. But I mean, Genesis did a great job letting you get to know each sister, and you get a different feel. Like, all other sisters, there's a set of twins in there, and they are total opposites, and you will know each sister. They all have different personalities. Of course, they gravitate to certain ones, and then the men in there and the stories that they were telling, because it was how she was telling the stories were, it wasn't happening at that moment. Like, they were each reliving it and telling it to their sisters. So
I like that.
And at the end, Genesis had made a like, in her afterwards, she talked about how a lot of these stories were made up, but some of these were based off her. So of course I had to definitely DM her like, which ones did you?
Which one was you? Yes, she's another new author.
It was so good. I really enjoyed it. Of course, she mentioned my alma mater, Alabama State University, in there, and I was like, yes, I can. But I
Yes.
loved it. That was my second top read, and that was my second book by Genesis, because my first one was Ezekiel's Heart, which was in my top 10, in my top 6. That probably would, but that one was good also. But this
I
one,
read that. That was a good book. Like I
it
love her.
was
She's good too.
phenomenal, and I, I really want her to do another one. I just loved how she did it.
It is already out. It's another one. I don't think they talk about it, but yeah, it's
I'm gonna
out.
have
I
to
looked
look
it up.
and pull it up, because I was like, Lord.
Yeah, when you said something about it, because I moved it up closer to be read. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh, definitely. And that's when I saw that it was another one. Because I went and bought the book. Like when she first came out with it, I was like, oh, I'm buying this, but I pushed it back. Yeah, the second one is the BDE interludes, and
Okay.
that's already
Well,
out.
I'm gonna have to check that out. But she also has a playlist on Spotify, Sets Tapes Volume 1 on there. And honey, that
Oh,
playlist,
I might
I
have to
was
listen
like,
to this.
yes, Genesis, yes, yes, yes. And so,
Yeah, this is
so
already out. It's called BDM .com interludes, and it says a couple months have passed since Dick 'em Down Dom, Long Stroke Links underscore 69, and Nasty Nate '08 and Hurricane Chris have entered the lives of these 4 women.
well, I'm gonna have to check it out. But
So
so
yeah,
yeah.
you got look, definitely be moving it up on my list. Definitely
So
moving it up
what
on my
was your
list.
top one, Crystal?
So I'm gonna have to like do a little shifting, because I'm gonna tell y'all, I end up loving this book so much. I done bought the daggone book. Like I had to buy the book. But my top book of the month was Work Song by Danielle Allen. First of all, this is a pretty ass book. Excuse my language, but I don't know if it's messing up. It looked like it is, but the book is gorgeous. I love it. And whenever I read a book, I'm always, like you just saw, I'm always remembering the guy's name, but never the girl. But this chick right here, Tatiana Green, she's going to be my woman crush Wednesday next month, because she was no joke. Tatiana Green, I loved her. So basically, Work Song was about Tatiana and Wes. They worked together, but she was in New York, he was in California. They never met. They just was talking via emails.
Mhm.
Eventually, they exchanged numbers, and the energy between them is like you rooting for them. You want them to get together, like you love them as a couple. And they wasn't a couple; they were just friends who talked. Like they shared everything that was going on with them, but not everything, because Tatiana had some things that we didn't know about, and I was figuring it out as we were going. But Tatiana wanted to be a writer. All she wanted to ever be was a sports writer, a woman sports writer. And that's what she just wanted to be. And so she and Wes, like I said, were like just friends. And I was just like, how in the world is she going to bring them together? Like they're living completely across the country. And Wes had to come to New York. And I was so excited, like so excited. And I was telling Danielle Allen, my favorite scene of the entire book. I mean, there were some great ones, but my favorite scene is when they first saw each other. Like they knew it was each other and they never seen each other before, but she knew it was him, he knew it was her, and it was just like bam. Now their friendship just went up to 100 once he finally moved there, and they spent time together, and they just were like the best of friends, and then they end up falling in love with each other. And it shocked Tatiana because she did not fall in love. Like she did not want to do relationships. And I mean, like the whole book was good. Like I love Tatiana. She was strong. And you know, most women are not as strong as she was when you have a mother and a sister who puts you down because of the way you look, because you got extra boobs, you got extra this, you got extra that, and they like the picture perfect model physique, and then she's not. But Tatiana was so strong, and I think it came from, you know, deciding to go live with her dad at the age that she did, and not having to deal with her mother and her sister on a daily basis. But all I can say is read Work Song. Like
Definitely, it needs to be in your next 1 or 2 reads.
Yes,
because
definitely.
that is, you know, that book is good. And
Yeah.
I love, Danielle never fails with her, character development, her storylines, how she brings things
Nothing.
together. And it happens so smoothly. Like it is,
Yes.
transitions are just phenomenal with her work. So
you never see it coming. Like I said, they liked each other, but you could tell they were starting to fall in love with each other. And that was even before they met.
Right. Pause.
Okay.
But definitely, like, Work Song is a phenomenal read,
It really is.
Definitely need to check it out because you cannot
All
go
right, Lena. So what's your number one?
Well, it is Danielle Allen also. It is The Casket by Danielle Allen. And I mean, this book here is The Cask. And so it's
and this is why Black romance is important, why it is going to be here to stay, because what are we discussing with the books?
Yeah.
Like, we need this.
So The Cask is inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, The Cask of Amadillo.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved every second of this book. Like, from beginning to end, it starts off with drama. I was ready to swing, like, Ebony, get yourself together. Like, girl. I mean, and I cannot stress enough, like, how you feel. Like, reading this book, I didn't want it to end. I did. And I was reading, and I was like, I was slowing down because I was reading fast. And I was looking at how much I got left, and I was like, oh no, I did not want it to end. It was just so good. And Danielle Allen, her world is out of this world. I mean, you when you enter any of her books, it is just basically taking you to another place. And I don't know. It's just so hard to even, like, give it a review because it was just so good. But it is definitely my top read. She knew how to pull you in. She knew how to keep you there. The Ebony was the villain, the hero and the villain, and you very seldom get those.
Yeah, you really don't.
Situations. So, it was really good. And, but you root for her.
I cannot wait to read it.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to read it. I mean, it's good. But I love Danielle Allen's work, and and she draws me in every time. She's definitely, when she releases something, I'm grabbing it, and I'm more than likely to start reading it right away.
Well, I feel you. I mean, like, everybody you tell me to read, they have never disappointed me. So I thank you for that. Like, I love it. Yeah, and Danielle Allen and Bailey West have moved up on my list of, like, new loves, especially like, not going one or the other, but like Danielle Allen. Oh my gosh, she is, like, she's the bomb. Like, for real, the bomb. Like, she's really the bomb. Like, you get emotional reads with her. Like, and it's not, it makes you think, like, what do I need to do differently?
Right.
And like you said, like, you got a book that had the heroine, she was a heroine and a villain. And I got a woman in the book that was like, took no mess from nobody, was no joke. And it's by the same author. So, like, you see what she's doing. Like,
she's so versatile with her stories and her work. Like, you don't feel like you're reading the same storyline over and over again. So that's one great thing about all of her books. And I love that, like, she's had, I think it's 3 of them so far that's kind of similar to Edgar Allan Poe. She uses him as a model in a sense, but
yeah,
I love how
Telltale
she
is one of them.
it into using Black characters and stories that's relatable to us. Something that we'll be interested in reading. So.
And then she writes across, like, it's across the board, because then we have the mystery book when she did the Women of the V series. And then, like, she was telling us of her other books that has nothing to do with Edgar Allan Poe's poems. So, like, she's phenomenal. So I don't know, if you have not read anything by Danielle Allen,
you have to make sure you grab her books. and read and read and read. That's the same for
Yeah.
Tay Russ. That's the same for Bailey
Bailey
West,
West. Yes.
Genesis Woods, the new one I read,
Aubrey
Tisha
Penn.
Andrews, Millie
Yeah,
Belazar, all of them, Aubrey Penn.
definitely.
Definitely, pick it up and read it. Sky Moon, she's another great one. I read a
Yes,
couple of her books. So, Black romance ranges, it varies. They're not all urban, some contemporary, because we are a wide range of people. So our authors cover all of that. So definitely
definitely.
come on.
Yes. But we said we're going to pick us a book of the month. So look, let's go ahead and we're going to choose the challenge and we're going to decide that we're going to read a book, even though we always intertwine it and reading books of the same anyway. But let's pick a book that we want to definitely read and we can do a review on this
We'll
month.
have to do that.
So yeah, we're gonna definitely do that because I know we were thinking about doing Saving Sunflower by Ray Lease. So we can definitely look and see. But we have had a very busy February,
We have. It
between
was a
the
good
reading,
February.
yes, between the reading, the Black romance debacle, it's been a February, celebrating Black History Month. We cannot forget about celebrating Black history. We can't forget about celebrating Black love or just love in general. So we got to do it all in 1 month. And
We
now,
did.
yeah, now we about to do it again. So, the month of March, we're doing nothing but celebrating women. Women, like WOMEN, women. So I'm here for it. I'm definitely going to pick out my books that I want to read. And that do change. That's why I never post, what I'm currently reading, because I can be reading like 3-4 books at a time. And it's sad.
Right. Yeah, mine's don't. It just I go by the feeling of what I
Yeah.
want to read. So
Yes, because I can start a book and be like, yeah, I'm not feeling this right now, and then pick up another one and go through it just like that. So definitely.
yeah.
But it's always great sitting here chatting with you about books.
It is.
Yes, definitely.
It is.
Yes.
Definitely.
So join us for this month as we interview blogger Read and Live with Shar.
Our author is Danielle Allen.
And our small business owner is Quintaria Brunson from the Brunson Approach. So thank you for joining us. And
thank you for joining us, 2 Girls with a Mic. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Comment. Let us know what you've been reading, and if you read the same things that we've read, let us know how you have liked them as well. So definitely. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.